Hello there, it's the Archivist from tradingcardarchives.com. I am back continuing my Halloween series, looking at all of the Richard Parks or RRParks cards that I received in the Ultimate Halloween Bundle. So I ordered his Ultimate Bundle with 10 years worth of cards in it, and it was a 7.5 pound box just loaded with stuff like this, little packs like this, just tons of these, right? And so what I've done is I've kind of separated those all out into different categories. And then we're doing one video on each of the categories till we get through them all. And there's about 10 of these that we're going to do. This is the fourth. So this is part 4. I've been doing this now for about 2 hours straight. So yeah, if I if my voice starts to crack and stuff, that's why. But I'm determined to get through this. We will be doing this. We will get this done. So first, what this is here is kind of Halloween adjacent things, random things that were in the box that aren't necessarily Halloween directly stuff, but they were definitely in the box, right? So we're going to look at it. But these thematically seem to be like comic book advertising type things. So if you remember, old comic books used to have ads like this, where you could just send like $2 to a company and they would theoretically send you a monkey, right? You never actually got the monkey, but theoretically you could do that, right? And most of these were scams or not the thing that they said they were, but you could definitely do it. And I mean, all of the comic books and magazines from that era would have had ads like this in them. Wow, 102 command and naval fleet, ships of all nations. That would actually be kind of cool. Unless you only get like one ship at a time and you have to order them one at a time. But anyway, that's also this is all like totally defunct stuff, right? The companies that made that are long gone at this point. Let's look at this one last. How about this is the same basic theme, right? This is going to be more comic book. That is a sealed bag. Comic book advertising cards. What a theme. Like, who would have thought to make trading cards based on comic book advertising? You know, Richard Parks, that's who. He's the one. He's the only guy out there doing stuff like this and producing cards like this. Totally independent again. You will not find anybody else making stuff like this. Oh, for good or for bad, right? Okay. Some more advertising cards. So we'll just go through them quickly because, again, it's, there's a lot. What's neat is if you sign up for like the Marvel web comic thing they do, Marvel Ultimate Marvel, where you can read any comic from their entire library. You can go back and read old comics from the 50s by Marvel, and they will still have these ads in there. They scanned all the ads in. So you can actually look at these in very high resolution scans. And actually, this is probably the most famous one, right? And everyone had those glasses back then, right? Because they were so popular. Man, how cool. Just a very like really a nostalgic thing to look through for me. It's been a long time since I've read a comic that had one of those or even thought about those kind of ads. They don't do that anymore, really. All right, so how about this Strange True Stories? This is probably kind of adjacent. Oh, it's got a warranty void if removed sticker. It's very, very serious stuff here. No joking around with Richard Park cards. And these packs like this is how his packs work. This is what he does. He prints this stuff and folds these up by hand and then gives you all these cards. All right, Strange True Stories was a comic book series again from God, the 40s maybe even? I don't remember. This one's really old. Yeah, I really just don't know. But it's the comic book series 36. Okay, so 30s, even before the 40s. I was like, my dad had some of these in a box in his room, so I know they come from then. And a lot of this stuff is retelling of historical events or torture or, you know, this is so racist. I'm sorry, that was like really racist. But again, the 30s, they didn't know any better back then. It's like torture, the devices, China the terror. I am so sorry. Look, it's history. Like this is what the United States was like. This is what we thought about countries like China and Japan. We still do. My grandpa fought in World War II, and he could never get over it. Up until the day he died, he hated Japanese people. And I lived in Japan for a while, so he just had a lot of trouble with that. But I don't have any problem with this kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'm sorry that's I can't. I'm not gonna hide history. Like that is what the U.S. was like. They're not anymore, but back well, gosh, I'm gonna stop talking about that because we're gonna get into trouble if I start talking like that. Let's look at this. So this is Russian. I have no idea what this is gonna be. I can't. Should I translate that? I should probably translate this. I'm gonna go translate this. I'll be right back. I'm kind of dumbstruck. I did translate this. That says many cards. And this says trade maps of the Soviet space race. And I think someone used Google Translate to do this because that's not actually the word order that I think Russia uses. But it directly translates to, maps of the Soviet space race. What this has to do with Halloween? No idea. There's quartermass. We looked at that in a video earlier. But what a goofy, weird thing. Like, it's beautiful. I know so little about Russia and Russian. Like, these are all in Russian, too. How crazy. This image is very famous. Looks like the backs have... No, the backs have different things on each one. Huh. That's wild. I'm going to go ahead and sleeve this just because it seems like something really kind of unique and special. It's the sort of thing you can show somebody and they'll just be like, what? I love that kind of stuff. I love stuff where people look at it and they're just like, why does that exist? And maybe it shouldn't. That's kind of where I like to sit. If you pay attention to the channel, you'll see pretty much everything I have is like that. It's stuff that really probably shouldn't exist, but it does. and we love that it does, but really it probably shouldn't. I guess, there's a lot of political issues with Russia right now as a country. Even back then, they've always been a little weird. But you have to remember, we're all just people, and, even if Russia, the country, is doing bad things, there are still good Russian people. There are bad Russian people too, but they're bad Americans. So can't do anything about that. How about we switch over to Galaxy of Tomorrow? So these are an American. I guess this would be the kind of the American version of that. Yeah, that's definitely what this is. So if these are the Soviet version of like what they thought the space race would be, This is a US version. I think that card's upside down. It's very Jetsons-like, right? Like, this is kind of what everyone sort of thought. I wonder where this art comes from. Yeah, I have no idea. Does it say anywhere? Mooring tower with rocket, catapult safety seat, space hydroplane. Mike Kisher is the person who provided these images, but I don't know if that's if he might be an artist or these could be classic. I really don't know. Awesome again. Those are coded though, so I don't feel it's as necessary that I leave those. All right, next up we have comic characters. Honest long cut. I don't. Oh, I get it. It's like these are old advertising images. That's what's going on here. Tobacco cards. So, I don't know if these are originals. I mean, they're almost certainly some kind of replica. Yeah, because they got RRParks on them, right? But these are what we would call tobacco cards. So the original origin of trading cards before baseball cards existed is tobacco cards, what you're looking at here. Although these are modern made, but they're very like very realistic to me anyway. And the idea was when you would buy a bag of tobacco or a box of tobacco back then, it would come in like a wooden box. There would be one of these cards in it, and it had the company information on it. And they started to put images on the cards, and then people started to collect and trade the cards. And that's kind of how the whole like trading card world started back then. They were called, again, I'm really sorry for the racism here, guys, but this is like ancient history stuff. I can't change it. But yeah, this is a precursor. Again, these are replicas, but the concept here is a precursor to the baseball cards even. Huh. Very cool. And then this will be Daredevils. So I assume it's going to be another comic thing because there were these. Comic is the wrong word. These were more like serial magazines published back then, because they sort of predate comics. But this is that one of these. Daredevils is one of those books. I don't know how to like it's essentially a comic book, but it's predating comic books. These are sort of precursor to it. Wow. And it's just telling stories, mostly war stories. Remember, back then World War I was going on, so the U.S. was big on, being supportive of the war and stuff. So there we go. Wow. I feel like this particular set is very far away from Halloween and very much into like niche nostalgia history stuff, like super niche things, especially this. Like, that's kind of crazy. But why don't we go here? So this is the Monster Times, which I think is another kind of fake magazine, newspaper type set. At least that's why I put it on the table with these. We'll see what this is. I love how they cross out free stick of gum. Okay, so let's pop this. Oh, it's got a lot in there. Oh my, okay. And the inside of the box again has some ways to order things. We don't need that. The Monster Times. Oh, okay, so this is technically a promo card, so we'll keep that. What do we got here? Grr, get off, Fred. I told you I'm not a hugger. Interesting. I love the printing proof is still on, I think. What exactly... So what is this? Little... Amazing. This is such a crazy, crazy thing. Okay, and there's a, I guess a cockroach in there? Interesting. So one of the other ones had this little monster head, and then they sometimes come with fake gum, so I've been putting that up here. Here's a checklist. And this is just an ad again. These are going to be the actual cards here. So I wonder, was the Monster Times a real magazine? It might have been. I think this actually probably was. Another one of those, like... Yeah, okay, so this was a magazine, a pop culture magazine from back then. It's a... Oh, so there's an interview with the co-creator of the Monster Times, and that's what's on the back of these cards. It continues on each card, so you can read the full interview. This is wild. Like, you talk about, like, classic monster movie history. Here it is. Like, this is all of it. Even stuff you probably don't want to know about. Stuff you want to forget, right? It's in here. Spider-Man? Jeez, Louise, that is... Oh, and that's my birthday, July 19th. Huh. Frankenstein. It's like everything, everything, everything. Is that interview still going? It is. That is a long interview. It's printed on the back of all of these. Planet of the Apes. A lot of Godzilla. I got the Wolfman twice here. Oh, wow. Huh. Yeah, sorry I wasn't talking much there. I was kind of just taking those in. That's a very impressive collection, to say the least. All right, and so there's the Monster Times. Okay, so another video in the bag. This was part 4. We kind of went through random, I don't know how else to describe this random stuff. Weird Soviet cards, weird old magazines, just weird. Okay, but we did it, and I will stop this video now, and I'll go ahead and set up the next one. Catch you later.